Backstory first. I'm female, quite short at only 5'2", and at the time of this incident, I was 21. I won't say I'm particularly attractive, but my eyes are extremely unusual. By this I mean, they change colours in various lighting, and appear blue-green and an intense grey. Since I was little, people often made remarks about them, mainly positive, but some said they were witchy, like I looked right through them. However, I've become used to it, and in the club, it was common for passing remarks, especially with the laser dance lights. The club had a decade theme, and there were 3 rooms, 80s, 90s, and now. Anyways, it was my first shift back after 3 months off, and I found out that I was in the now room with all new people. This is because I was a bar trainer and supervisor. I was a little annoyed, as I'd come back because I'd missed my friends, but I was doing cash in hand, and tips meant I'd earn £300 easy, so I could deal. The club had lots of regulars, and some were stopping me to see how I'd been, etc. Anyways, about 11:30, a man came up to the bar, older than the usual, and was stood staring at me. I presumed he had been waiting for a while, so I finished an order and approached him saying the usual, "Sorry for the wait, what can I get you?" He seemed transfixed. I am used to drunken creepers, so I'm not easily spooked, and just gestured saying, "Do you want a drink, mate?" He suddenly touched my cheek, saying, "Your eyes." I jumped back. This seemed to break the trance. He shook his head and mumbled, "Sorry, your eyes were changing colour. It's like magic." This was a normal comment for me, and I laughed and explained that there was an anomaly in the pigment or something like that. An optician had told me that it makes the colour appear to change. He shrugged and said he thought there was more to it. I just shrugged, thinking he thought I had contacts, and said, "They're real." I finished his order and he left, but all night he would always come to the bar and wouldn't let anyone else serve him. He was on his own, which was strange. I mean, he looked late 30s to 40s, greying hair, about 6'1", relatively average build. This wasn't usual clientele, but he seemed harmless. Each time he would stare into my eyes, saying, "They're green, or blue, or grey now." On about the 5th interaction, he leaned into me and said, "Your eyes make me feel like you can see through me." I joked about others who had commented this, and told him I didn't have X-ray vision, while laughing. He slammed his hand on the bar, saying, "You're not listening. You can see my soul. I know you can. Do you like it?" I freaked out. I just said, "I don't know what you mean." I told the staff I was going on break, as my friend from the other room had texted, saying she was going on hers. Unfortunately, because new staff kept messing up the tills, I was held up at one of the other bars, and I sent another girl on break. Just to say, from behind she was similar to me, same height, and same black hair. Now, our break area was effectively the car park, so we would often get drunks coming down it. The girl came back 10 minutes later, only halfway through her break, looking frightened. She said that there was a man who came up behind her, mumbling, and all she could make out was him saying, "I want your eyes." She ran and locked the back door. To be honest, I stupidly didn't make a connection. The amount of drunks or dudes on freaky drugs you would encounter made you numb to it. I eventually had my break, but on the front door with my manager, who wanted to speak to me about coming back permanently. I went back down to the bar and started closing down, which I had to do for 8 separate little bars in total. The man kept coming up, but I never serve when doing this, as I have so much to do. And he called my name. That was odd. I never told him my name. We don't have tags or anything, and my till only shows a nickname. Again, I brushed it off, as one of the other bar staff telling him. The night ended fine, and I left. I got a phone call from my boss a few days later, saying a man had kept inquiring about when I was back. Again, it was laughed off, as this occurred with all male and female bar staff at some point or another. Letters started arriving at my work for me. Now, this was incredibly unusual. They were drawings. Really good, to be honest, of me, and mainly my face and eyes. All saying something along the lines of, "I want your eyes, I want to see them cry," etc. They were all signed from Soul. They seemed angry I wasn't there. I did show them to the police, who made an incident log, but not much could be done. I returned a month later, and because of the letters, my boss put me on with 2 of the biggest male barmen, and luckily my best mates, and they watched over me. Everything was fine, until at the end of the night, that man appeared. I was at the end of the bar, leaning on the hatch, doing paperwork. He looked annoyed, and started asking me where I had been, and that he needed me to be honest. I froze, confused. Then it came back to me. He had said my eyes could see his soul. It must have been him. He could see I was nervous. Luke was serving, and so was Martin, and he came close to asking if I liked his drawings. At this point, I suddenly snapped out of it and pressed the panic button on the bar, which alerted the door staff and bouncers that there was an incident and the bar needed help. They came down and grabbed him away from me. I explained to one of them what was wrong, and they had already been told about it, so one called down to the front door to get the police, and he was dragged out. I followed, as I knew the police would want to speak to me from a safe distance behind. The one thing that got me, and what makes me terrified to this day, is, well, I'll just have to take Thomas's eyes instead. See? Thomas is my son. He is why I was away from the club so much, as I was on maternity leave and had been doing favours. He was born with my exact eyes. As far as I know, he was released with a caution and banned from the club. I still don't know how he knew about my son. There was only a few of the old staff left, and they worked intermittently, and we all never gave out information after a previous incident years before, and the new staff had no idea that I had had a baby, let alone his name. Now, I don't work there, thank God, but I'm always jumpy when people comment on mine or my son's eyes. So, guy who thinks I can see your soul, let's never meet again. And for your sake, you better never meet my son. All names in this story have been changed. Hello everyone, SinisterShaf here. This story was Eyes of the Soul by Lolo88X. Thank you for letting me narrate your story. If you enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe if you have not done so already. Also, if you can, share this video with your friends. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay sinister.